Hello everyone. So this is the second video out of the six-part video discussing other performance evaluation and improvement tools. So again, as discussed during our first meeting, we will be learning 11 tools throughout the entire semester, and we are now down to the 7 out of the 11 improvement tools. So in the first part of the six-part video, I was able to discuss statistical quality control. So if you haven't listened to the recorded discussion yet, so you may pause this video and then resume once you're done with SQC. So in this video, we will be talking about PDCA, or Plan, Do, Check, Action. Now, PDCA also has other terms or names. It is also known as the Deming circle, cycle, or wheel. It is also known as the Shewhart cycle. And sometimes PDCA is also referred to as PDSA. So instead of CA, becomes SA. So plan, do, study, act. So all these terms pertain to one and the same thing. So let's get started. So PDCA, what does PDCA stand for? So P for plan, D for do, C for check, and then A for act. So this is actually a cycle. So you have to follow the steps chronologically. So after plan, you must do. After do, check. And after check, act. So you cannot jump from one step to another. So always follow the chronological order because this is a process. So we start with P and then D and then C and then A. So again, remember, plan, do, check, and act. So let's see how well you see something. So from your memory rather, draw the front side of a 1 peso coin. I'm sure we've all seen a 1 peso coin before. So from your memory, do not cheat, okay? I know you have 1 peso in your wallet, so do not look at it. Just from the memory, draw the front side of a 1 peso coin and include as much details as you can remember. Okay, so pause this video so you can start drawing. Get a piece of paper, draw the front side of a 1 peso coin. Okay, so were you able to draw the front side of the 1 peso coin? So let's compare the actual front side with what you have drawn in your paper. So this is what a 1 peso coin looks like, right? So try to um, try to check whether you have drawn the correct details. So is the face of Jose Rizal facing left or right? So you have these points, and then did you include the words Republika ng Pilipinas? And then if you did include Republika ng Pilipinas, was it at the top side or anywhere else? And then did you include a year beside it? And then the word 1 peso or 1 peso, okay? And then the name of Jose Rizal. Okay. So if your drawing is not really correct, no, let's say you were not able to include the words Republika ng Pilipinas and then the name of Jose Rizal and maybe the positioning of the details. If you've got it wrong, then this only proves that what we know and what we think we know are two different things. So let's apply this in a business scenario because our topic is all about performance management, right? So performance management, managing the performance of the organization, managing the performance of the members of the organization. So if you are a member of a specific organization, diba, you have a certain task to do, and that certain task should be able to point out in the right direction, heading towards the same goal, the same vision of the company. So if you think we know this, okay, we know that this is our job. We think we know this. So these two are very different things. So we have this so-called seeing problems. So people come to work to add value, but often don't see the details to make the job easier, right? When you go to work, your aim is to contribute something to the company, to be of service to the company, to add value to the company. But sometimes when we do the actual work, this vision becomes hazy and we forget, and we cannot even remember anymore the value of the things that we do and its impact to the organization. So we have this so-called seeing problems. So, in order for us to gain a clearer perspective of the vision and the goals of the company, and how can we align our efforts in achieving that goal, we need to identify a problem. Okay, we need to acknowledge that there is a problem. We have a seeing problem, and then we need to drill deeper, dig deeper. We need to look at the micro perspective of it. So we look at problems as golden nuggets. Okay, so we don't just stop at acknowledging that we have a problem, but rather take it as a first step in resolving our um, situation, to make our situation better, to manage our performance. Okay, so first we have to define what is the problem, what is the pain. So, how does it make your job difficult? And why does it matter? Who does it affect, or who does it not affect? What does it affect or does not affect? How does it affect, or how does it affect something or someone? When is it a problem? When is it considered a problem? And when is this not considered a problem? Where is it considered a problem, and where is it not considered a problem? And then, how will we know that a change is an improvement? Does it mean that if something is changing, does it mean that it is a change for the better? No. So at first glance, we would see that not all changes are good. Okay. So how will we know that a specific change is actually an improvement? What change will we make that will result in an improvement? Because only changes that uh, uh, that result to an improvement are desirable. All other changes, if that specific change will not give us an improvement or will not offer us an improvement, we do not want that change. Okay, so we need to choose what change will result in an improvement. So how are we going to address this? So here, um, PDCA, here's where PDCA will come into the picture. So again, what does PDCA stand for? P for plan, D for do, C for check, and A for act. So um, among these steps, the four major steps, which is PDCA, we will dig deeper and then look at the more simpler steps that we are going to undertake. So step one, this is under plan. So if you notice, the planning stage or the planning phase actually takes up a lot of our time. Okay, before we do something, we need to plan it out. And then under plan, under P, we have three sub steps. Okay. So again, step one is to hypothesize or hypothesis. This is referring to the planning phase. So sub step 1A, since this is the planning stage, we need to identify what is our problem, because we will not know if you do not know what is the problem, if you do not even know that a problem exists, then you will do nothing about it. Okay, so that's the first crucial step, and that is problem identification, or to identify the problem. And then after you have identified that there is this problem, we move on to the next sub-step, which is step 1B, and that is cause investigation. So for cause investigation, we will investigate what is the root cause of such problem. Why does this problem exist? What is the cause behind this? Right. And then move on to the next sub-step, which is step 1C, and that is to select countermeasures and make sure that the countermeasures are appropriate. When can we say that the countermeasures are appropriate? If it directly uh, addresses the issues that we have identified. So the countermeasure, or the what do you call this, the cure should directly address the problem. All right. So that's the planning. We sit down, we brainstorm, we hypothesize. And that is step one, which is P, plan, to hypothesize. Right. So after which we move on to the next phase, which is the do phase. So this is actually equivalent to the trying phase. Okay. So since we already have selected our appropriate countermeasures, it's now time for us to do them, to try to implement them. Okay, so it's not enough that we have selected countermeasures, but it is also very important for us to implement the countermeasures that we have selected. So let's do. We try to implement our countermeasures that we have planned under our planning phase. And then after which we move on to the next phase, which is check. C for check. So in checking, this is actually equivalent to the reflecting phase. We reflect and we study the results. Okay, based on the implementation, the initial implementation that we did it really help that did the countermeasures that we have selected and implemented help us improve our performance? Did it really address the problem? Okay, so that's step three. Check, reflect, think whether the countermeasures that you have implemented have yielded good results. Okay, study the results. Now, if your expectation as to the effect of the countermeasures that you will implement versus the actual results of the implementation, if these two things do not match with each other, there is a gap, right? So we need to move on to the fourth phase, which is to act or adjust. So based on the analysis of the results that we did, if we think that we need to tweak something a little bit based on the initial countermeasures that we have implemented, then we need to standardize and make or plan continuous improvement. Okay. So we need to make some adjustments, not because not just because we initially thought of this countermeasure, we will stick to it forever na lang yun, even though we know that the results are not the results that we have expected. So of course, we need to make some adjustments. And then after which, if we identified some more problems along the way, then we need to go over the PDCA steps again and again. So it's a cycle. We always do these things over and over again until all problems are being addressed and cured. Okay. So remember our first sub-step under plan. Okay. So the first step, very crucial, is your problem identification. So in this step, we need to determine the problem area. We need to define the standards, if any. So if there are any standards that we need to comply, so we also have to define that. Define the current situation. What is the status quo? Determine the inconsistency between the current situation and what is required by the standard if there is inconsistency. Select a measurable goal. State the problem in a problem statement form in order to brainstorm potential causes, right? And then next step, still under planning phase or hypothesis phase, is cause investigation. We need to brainstorm potential causes of the problem. So you need to sit down with the members of the team and then exchange ideas on what could be a possible reason, what could be a possible reason that this inconsistency, that this problem, uh, that what could be the cause that this problem, um, what do you call this? What is the cause why, or rather, what is the cause or what are the causes why this problem is existing in the organization? Okay, so That's for brainstorming. And then collect and analyze data related to the problem, challenge the data with facts, select most likely causes, establish a cause and effect relationship, and determine the root or driver cause. And then step 1C is to select countermeasures. So again, brainstorming still. So brainstorm for countermeasures to address root cause. Select proper countermeasure based upon a certain criteria. Coordinate or gain approval of leadership to implement countermeasures. So, for example, the middle management is the one in charge to do PDCA. So before they can actually implement the countermeasures that they have selected, they need to get an approval from the higher management. Okay. And then step 2 is to do or try, correct? So implement our countermeasures. Develop a plan to implement the countermeasures that we have selected in step 1C. And then we need to ask ourselves, are these countermeasures just temporary, just a temporary fix or a permanent fix? And then assign tasks uh, to the individuals that are in charge for this uh, particular responsibility, and then communicate the plan to all persons involved, execute pilot implementation plan with timelines, and establish a tracking method. So there should be like a deadline so that we would know, we could really measure our progress. Okay. And then step 3 is to check or study the results. So we need to monitor progress of the pilot implementation plan. Like for example, we initially drafted this countermeasure to be effected within a period of 1 month. And then supposedly after a period of 1 month, our progress should be at a 100%. So we need to monitor it, whether the plan is going as intended. And then gather or analyze additional data if necessary. Modify implementation plan if necessary based upon results. So if there are um, mga unforeseen events or fortuitous events that would delay the implementation of our plan, such as, for example, if the place where our company is situated has experienced catastrophes or any accidents or any unforeseen events. So we need to modify our implementation plan. And then monitor results of the specific countermeasures that address the root cause. So more on monitoring, okay? And then step 4, which is the last letter in our PDCA, A for act, could also be for adjust. Okay, this is when we standardize and improve our plan. So we need to evaluate the results, standardize the effective countermeasures to prevent recurrence. So if we find out that a specific countermeasure is very, very helpful and effective, we need to standardize the implementation of this one. So we will not forget to implement this. So there will be consistency. Okay. So, and then share success with other affected areas. So share the results so that the other departments can also use this to address that same problem, and then plan an ongoing monitoring of the solution. Start the PDCA process again to refine the countermeasure or if the results are uneven. Okay, and then continue with other improvement opportunities. So again, after we reach the last phase, which is your act phase, we need to do PDCA again and again to perfect our countermeasures so that in the future we will not be encountering the same problems anymore. So there is a hidden step 5, and step 5 is actually continuous improvement. So sounds familiar? Where did we hear these words? Continuous improvement. This is actually under TQM, right? TQM, continuous improvement, total quality management. So this shows that the concept of PDCA is also a branch of TQM, like your Six Sigma, like your benchmarking, which are mere branches of TQM, TQM being the more broader concept. PDCA is also one of them, one of the branches of EQM. So this is a hidden step for your PDCA, and that is to continuously strive for improvement. So if this is our current condition and this is our target condition, so we do PDCA and then improve a little. And then, of course, we will encounter new problems along the way. Then we do again PDCA and then continuously improve until we will be able to reach our target condition. Okay. So, continuous improvement is also termed as Kaizen. So, Kaizen is a Japanese term which means continuous improvement. So, this is our standard work, and then we improve. This will become our standard once again. Then we improve, and then this becomes our standard once again. So after improving, and after a little while, no, this will become our new normal. This will become our new standard. This will become just another ordinary thing for us. Like for example, when you are new to work and then your salary, let's say, is 20,000, and then after a year it was raised to 25,000. So that one is an improvement. And then after a few months, it remained at 25,000. So 25,000 will be your new normal. Then you will have to your expenses and your lifestyle, your habits will adjust to that new normal, and then you have to strive again for another improvement. So Kaizen standard way until you reach your target condition. Okay, so one of the um, famous companies na that have used PDCA before is Nike. So Nike admittedly used PDCA in their operations. So in their this is a snippet of the report when they reported about their use of PDCA. It says that results of the employee satisfaction survey have been incorporated into the HRM capacity building workshops where factory HR, corporate responsibility, and lean leaders work together to prioritize and identify issues to address. During the HRM workshop, factory leaders learned about the PDCA problem solving technique. As part of this process, each factory created reports to clearly define gaps in current HRM systems and created action plans to address the gaps. So I believe that Nike has experienced this problem of their employees in the factory being unsatisfied with their current condition. So they incorporated PDCA in their planning process, and then they were able to address the issues, and then this of course made the employees very very happy. Okay, so that would be it for PDCA. So um again, this is the seventh out of the 11 improvement tools that we will be learning throughout the entire semester. And I hope you've learned a very valuable lesson when it comes to addressing problems. There is actually a step-by-step process. So just go over the process. Do not skip one process. Do not skip one step. Do not be impatient. Just follow through the process, and sure enough, you will be able to reach your target condition eventually. Okay, so thank you for listening, and listen again to the third video of this 6-part video. And in the third video, we will now be learning MIS, or Management Information System. Okay, bye.